Damn phones, Babylons can't crack the code.
What do YouTube? B. Kelly back again with another banger video, and in today's video, y'all, I'm going to be talking about what happened to some of the people from Last Chance U Football Season 1 to Season 5. Now, if you didn't know, I did make some videos in the past on Last Chance U and what happened to people from East Mississippi, Independence, and Laney Community College. But in today's video, I'm going to focus on some of the main people from Season 1 to Season 5. And before I move on with the video, remember to smash that like button before you continue, as it does help grow the channel and get my videos out to more people. Now let's get on into the video. The first guy that I'm going to be talking about today comes from Season 5 of Last Chance U at Laney College, and that is wide receiver Dior Scott. Now in Season 5, Dior was supposed to be the main and lead receiver for their team, but he did face some adversity as he was the main receiver for part of the season, but then he also had to play quarterback due to some injuries. He would show out to be one of the better players on the team, but when it was all said and done, he ultimately had 0 Division I scholarship offers. Then he took a preferred walk-on offer at Hawaii. In Dior's first season at Hawaii, he was primarily a special teams player as he appeared in 8 games for the Rainbow Warriors. Now, he did return 7 punts for 9 yards, and he was the main punt returner for the team during the second half of the season. He also returned a pair of kickoff returns, averaging 26 yards per return. As of 2021, on their roster, Dior is now listed as a running back, and he is now on a full scholarship. The next guy that I'm going to be talking about comes from Last Chance U Season 3 and 4 at Independence Community College, but I will say he was primarily featured in Season 4, and that is none other than Kailon Davis. Now, I will say I really liked Kailon Davis in Last Chance U. I thought he was funny, and I thought he was a baller as well. He would end up going to Arkansas State. In Kailon Davis's first season at Arkansas State, in the 2019 college football season, he was primarily a backup defensive end for the Red Wolves, but he did appear in 9 games in 2019, having 9 total tackles, 5 of them being solo and 4 of them being assisted. Going into the 2020 college football season, Kailon Davis was expected to have a bigger impact with Arkansas State, as it would be his second year with the program, but he would end up not playing in any games in the 2020 college football season, and it really was unknown why for the most part to most people, but unfortunately, Kailon Davis has been going through some heart issues, and he had to effectively retire after the 2020 season concluded, as in this past April, he did officially hang up the cleats due to this issue. On to another player from both seasons of Last Chance U and Independence in Season 3 and Season 4. Just like Kailon Davis, he was primarily featured in Season 4, and this is none other than Jermaine Johnson. Now, out of all the players that came out of Last Chance U, Jermaine Johnson was the most highly touted recruit coming out of the JUCO level, as in the 2019 recruiting class, he ranked as the #1 player in that class on the JUCO level, and he would end up going to Georgia. Jermaine Johnson in his first season at Georgia had 20 total tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 1.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. In 2020 for the Bulldogs, in 7 games played, he had 16 total tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, and 0 forced fumbles this time around. Jermaine, at the end of the 2020 college football season, would enter his name into the transfer portal, and then he would officially transfer to Florida State, where he's expected to make a huge impact on the Seminole defense. Staying on the same seasons of Season 3 and Season 4 from Last Chance U, we're going to go back to Independence quarterback Malik Henry. Now, he was featured quite a bit in both seasons. He was the starting quarterback in Season 3, and in Season 4, he actually really wasn't on the team like most of the time, but when he was, he did start in 1 game and was a backup quarterback. Now, after his days at Independence Community College, Malik Henry would take his talents to Nevada. Malik Henry with Nevada in the 2019 season would play in 3 games where he completed 54% of his passes, threw for 593 yards, 1 touchdown, and 4 interceptions. After the last game that Malik Henry played, he would technically not be suspended, but he would technically not be on the team as he had to focus on stuff outside of the football field. but that was really it for his career at Nevada, as he would not return for the next season. Things have been really quiet as well with Malik Henry regarding his football career since his time in Nevada in 2019, but recently, as of 2021, he did join the Frisco Fighters of the Indoor Football League. The last guy that I'm going to be talking about from the Last Chance U Independent saga is from Season 3, running back Raleek Boyd. Now, Raleek Boyd was a star this season at the running back position, and after he was done at Independence, he would then move on to Arkansas. Raleek Boyd would get off to a very good start in his Arkansas football career, as in his first season, he had a solid season where he rushed for 734 yards, averaging 6 yards a carry, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. In 2019, in his second year at Arkansas, he had a huge season, as in 12 games played, he rushed for 1,133 yards, averaging 6 yards per carry and 8 touchdowns, and he opted to return for the 2020 season. Unfortunately, in the 2020 season, Raleek Boyd ultimately struggled, and he struggled quite a bit, and it really hurt his NFL draft stock, as in 6 games played, he rushed for 309 yards, averaging about 4 yards per carry, but not exactly 4 yards, and he had 3 touchdowns on the ground. In the 2021 NFL Draft, he went undrafted. Raleek Boyd would sign with the Detroit Lions shortly after the NFL Draft concluded, but recently on June 4th, he was waived with an injury settlement and is currently an NFL free agent. Now I'm going to be kicking it off to Last Chance U Season 1 and 2, where it took place at East Mississippi Community College. And the first guy I'm going to be talking about today comes from Season 2, and that is none other than Tim Bonner. After his time at East Mississippi Community College, Tim Bonner would then go to FAU. Now at FAU, he was there for 3 total seasons, where he had 58 total tackles, 15.5 tackles for loss, 8 career sacks, and 2 career forced fumbles. In the 2020 NFL Draft, Tim Bonner did not hear his name called, as he went undrafted. He would have a couple opportunities with a couple NFL teams, but nothing really came out of it, as he would never actually get on an NFL squad. But an update with Tim Bonner is that he's currently competing for a roster spot with the BC Lions of the Canadian Football League. The final guy that I'm going to be talking about in today's video comes from Season 1 of Last Chance U, and that is John Franklin III. At EMCC, John Franklin III was the starting quarterback once he actually came back, and he was actually pretty good, even though the other quarterback was also pretty good as well. Now, after EMCC, he would then go to Auburn. JF3 would spend 1 season at Auburn as a quarterback in 2016, where in 12 games played, he was primarily used as a Wildcat quarterback. He threw a total of 26 passes, completing 54% of them, throwing for 204 yards and 1 touchdown and 0 interceptions. But on the ground, however, he rushed for 430 yards, averaging 9 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns. After 1 season at Auburn, he would then transfer to Florida Atlantic, where he would then switch positions to wide receiver. And then in that 2017 season, in 11 games played, he had a total of 229 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, while having 7 receptions for 95 yards, averaging 14 yards per reception and 1 touchdown. Although his last season in college football in the 2017 season at FAU was solid, it would not be enough for him to be drafted in the 2018 NFL Draft. He has had an interesting NFL career so far, as after he went undrafted, he got picked up by the Chicago Bears and was on their practice squad most of the time while he was there from 2018 to 2019. But the thing is, he was primarily a defensive back, and he was switching from position to position primarily just because of how much of an athlete he was. But with the Bears, he was a defensive back. But on November 13th, 2019, Franklin signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers practice squad, and he would eventually be promoted to the active roster, where he was listed as a wide receiver on December 24th, 2019. Going into the 2020 season, he was back with the Buccaneers, yet again as a wide receiver, but this time going into the season he would get hurt and be put on the IR and would miss the entire season, but he did technically win the Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Well guys, if you guys have made it this far into the video, remember to smash that like button, turn on them post notifications, and subscribe for more videos. B. Kelly out.